Lorraine. I have a really fun interactive card for you today that I'm calling a double layer slider card. It's going to slide up and it'll show two layers on there as it slides up. So it's kind of a nice little surprise when somebody pulls it. I'll show you that in a second. It features the very beautiful True Love Designer Series paper in the January to June mini catalog. It's all black and white floral designs on one side. The other side, black and white graphic designs. And you can really do some fun things. You can color those in. You can blend, use your Stampin' blends. You can use pencils. You can use markers. You can use your brushes or sponge daubers. Add the color or just leave it black and white for a really neat look. And that's what I'm going to show you today. So our slider card is going to actually look like this, almost like a little pocket card. But when you slide it up, your little message is going to come in there. So stay tuned. I have 3 to show you today. So hope you enjoy it. And if you do, don't forget to give me a thumbs up down below and check out stampwithlorraine.com. This is the double slider card. I'm going to call it, like I said, a double layer, because when you pull it up, I'll start with this one. When you pull this up, you're going to see 2 layers. It's not going to shoot out the bottom. Both of them are going to come out the top, and you'll see 2 layers. One layer in the front is laying against the back. So isn't that pretty? I love it with the black and the yellow. So just pulling that up, and you have your little message. You can either sign it down here or you can write something on the back. So it's all up to you. So there's one. This one, I made this little thumb notch on the back so that you could just pull it up without the loop. To be honest, I forgot to add the loop, but I went to put the notch in the back so it's easy to pull up just with your fingers. Okay, so there we go. We have that one. So we have the 2, and I'm going to do a different version with you today, just so you see it in a different color. All righty, so we're also featuring the True Love designer paper that's in the January-June mini, and it's all black and white and floral. And of course, on the flip sides of the florals, you have more graphic type designs. So they're great to mix and match. You can color them using the brushes. Okay, the blending brushes. I just went over it a little bit to add a little soft color. And I also added olive here. Okay, so you have a lot of different designs in there, and I tried to do different patterns to show you how they can work. So you have some stripes, you have some dots. This one I'm camouflaged with today, so that matches my shirt. Little coordination there. Okay, so you have some with white flowers with black backgrounds. You have just a sketch with the white background. You have a lot of combinations of stripes and swirls and different things going on there. So my examples use different DSP for each card. Okay, so very quickly, this one is Daffodil Delight, a little bit of Old Olive here. And for the Hello, I used the stitched ovals. The stitched shapes, the one that comes with the circle, the ovals, and the squares. And the Hello comes from the Quite Curvy set, that little hello down there. Okay, the Thinking of You comes from Happy Thoughts. That's one of the new sets in the mini as well. The one that has some inside verses and your generic outside verses. And the little splatter that I did on there comes from the Painted Poppies. I fussy cut the flower and put it up with dimensional dots. And these 2 are the DSP from that True Love set. This one, I just added a little color to the yellow color to the flowers, and just to kind of tie in some of the yellow across the board. These little rhinestones down here are retired. They were black rhinestone jewels, but in the new mini with this set with the True Love things that coordinate, there are some matte little enamel dots that would be perfect for this. So that's how that one was done. The other one, the purple, I fussy cut the flower I put a little dragonfly on there. That kind of happened by accident because he was just kind of floating around my table here. And I said, oh, that looks kind of nice there. And let me show you what I was thinking about that. I saw that it was very light because it was stamped in gray on soft seafoam. So I said, well, let me make it a little darker. But when I put it darker, I don't know if it's just me, but I thought that was a little too much with the stripes here and the stripes on the dragonflies. So I actually did like it a little softer and a little lighter. So it didn't take away, it didn't make it too busy. Okay, so again, this is Happy Birthday from the Happy Thoughts. And of course the dragonflies, Dragonfly Garden. And I use the little dragonflies here for the little spray and for True Friend down here. And that's from the Stitch So Sweetly, the smallest rectangle. And I added a few just little rhinestones on that. But what we're going to do is you have your 11 by 4¼ inch paper. So now what you want to do, you want your paper trimmer. And you're going to need a pencil for this, or you can use your scorer, I suppose, too. But you're going to want to mark a line when you're holding it this way. You're going to mark a line at 4¼ So I'm going to just close my paper trimmer. I'm going to draw a little line in there. It's not going to be seen later, so not to worry too much. But just, you don't want to go the whole width of the card. You can go about 3/4 or an inch away. You just want to kind of make a little mark in there. All right, and then you're going to do the same thing at 1 3/4. Make a little mark, and that's going to give us a guide for where we're going to put our slots to make the slider mechanism work. So you can put your trimmer away, and we're going to use the classic label punch. That's one that's very narrow and has the points on the end. And I measured, and if you have the stitched rectangles, the smallest stitch rectangle is also this same width here. So I think that should work. I haven't tried it myself, but I think it would also work. Okay, so we're going to actually cut a slot that spans the distance between this line and that line. Now this classic punch is not quite long enough to reach, so we're just going to line it up on one end. This little point can touch one line, pencil line that you drew, and we're gonna punch that, and then we're just going to move it over a little bit to punch so it reaches the other line. Okay, now if you like, you can save that for another project. Okay, we're going to do the same thing on the other side. So you're going to punch from the side. I'm going to slide it over so it touches the next line. Okay, then you have 2 slits there, and that's going to help make the slider move. All right, so that's actually going to be the front of your card, and your fold is actually going to be down at the bottom because it's going to end up being like a pocket. So the bottom is the fold. We're going to eventually tape the sides together, and it's going to pull up from the top. So now we need our little thumb hole up here. So you'll need a 1-inch punch. Something a little larger is fine. If you want to make it exact, you can mark your 2 1/8 mark on there, and then kind of line that up in the center and cut a half circle. Okay, so that's going to show that you can pull that out right there. Okay, so let's work on the part that actually slides up. You have your piece that is 4.5 by 3.25. Your DSP is 3 by 3. It doesn't have to go all the way down because that part's not going to be seen. So don't waste your DSP on that. So that's going to go on there. But first, I made this mistake twice. First, we're going to put a little loop of ribbon there. So to tie in with the white, I'm going to use a little piece of the Whisper White crinkled seam binding ribbon. So really just about 2 inches or so, enough to make a little loop. This is important to use a very strong adhesive on this because when somebody's opening their card, you don't want that ribbon to pull off. Anything that moves, interactive, you want nice strong adhesive. I like the tear and tape for this particular type of project. I'm going to put a piece of tear and tape below where the DSP is going to be. I'm going to tear the top off. It's double-sided, as you know. So I'm really only going to need one piece. Pull the top off. I'm going to fold it in half and lay it on the tape. And then I'm going to cover my DSP over that. But first I need to put the adhesive on the back of the DSP. Okay, so now you have your little mechanism that's going to pull out from there and create a backdrop to the part that's going to slide in front of that. Because the regular white is a little thinner than regular cardstock, it's good to use the thick, or you can double it or mat it, whatever you think you'd like to do there. Okay, so you want your thick Whisper White to be 2 1/4 by 3 1/4. And that's the part that's going to slide up in front of the back. That's going to make your double layer, the part that slides. So we're going to use Thinking of You from Life is Beautiful. And on the front, I'm going to use the hello. So here's the Thinking of You, Memento Black. So I was looking around for something that matched the style of the DSP, which is sort of sketchy. And I came up with the Free as a Bird. I said, okay, this little bud will coordinate very nicely. So finally, that's what I ended up choosing. So we're going to put just a little bud over there. Let me make sure I'm inked up well. Always good to practice. Okay, so it has a little something more than just the words right there. Okay, so now we're going to create the actual slider part. So this is where you need the 2 little strips. And we're going to sort of make a sandwich here. So we're going to put these 2 little things aside for a minute. And we're going to take one of these and put it in what would be the inside of the card. And just hold it kind of straight and put it down. Then we're going to put dimensional dots right in those little grooves, those little slots there. And I suggest putting them so that your the flat sides of the dimensionals are against the flat sides of here. That's just so I think it slides a little bit better. I'm also going to put it kind of close to the top of that strip. I just think it kind of works well that way. And you want them to be kind of even with each other. You don't want one up here and one down here, because when you pull it out, then it will end up being crooked. So as close as you can get with that. Pull off the covers to the dimensional dots. And then we're going to cover your other strip on top of those. All right, now I put a little note to myself here. No tape on this one. At one point, I did put some tape here, And then when I put my smaller piece of cardstock over there, I had some sticky parts on the outside. So I'm going to suggest that you actually put your tape on the back where I put tape here. So again, I'm going to use the tear tape. So you're going to put your sticky strip on the bottom here, and you're going to eventually put that on there. First, I'm going to attach this to the back here. So you're going to have your slider all the way down. You can see this kind of makes that little, like a little sandwich, and that's going to be the part that moves. So we're going to move this all the way down first. First, we'll put on the back. Line it up so when it's all the way down, your insert doesn't extend the top of the card. All right, and we're going to glue that down onto here. So I will put sticky strip on here because I don't want to put it here. It might extend the slider part and then it will not move. So I will put sticky strip on this piece. Well, it used to be sticky strip. Now it's called tear and tape. And it does tear a lot better than the old version with the red plastic on there. Remember those? And they were so staticky. Okay, so I want this to be even with the top of the card and center it. So we're going to put that down. Okay, so now that's going to be able to slide up. Right, now we want to put the smaller piece in the front. So we're going to have it all the way up so we can see how we want that to line up there. All right, and you want to put it a little closer to the top, I think, because otherwise you'll have too much of this background. I'll tear off my tear tape backing. And just layer that on there. And then now they both move together. Isn't that cool? All right, now we don't have to worry too much. You don't have to worry about this here because now we're going to do the card front will fit over there. So before we do the card front, let's tape it together. And when you're taping this together, only tear tape on the sides. We do not want to put it anyplace else that might impede the movement. So again, span this along the edges, making sure it doesn't get in the way of the slider part. That went a little long. There we go. Okay, tear that off and close it up. All right, so here's the mechanism of your card. And now to do the front. So you have your piece of white or whatever color you might choose. It's going to go cover that. So then you'll pull it up. It's a surprise. Okay, so that's your mat. And then you're going to put your other DSP here. So let me just show you what I did with this one. Instead of just leaving the DSP as it is, I want to add a little bit of color. Instead of doing a fussy cut like I did on the other cards, I took this pattern and instead of coloring the flowers, I colored the background. So I left a little piece to show you how I did that. Using my blends, the paintbrush tip has very nice pointy top. Just color in and around the flowers. That tip really helps get in the little spaces. And what I like to do is just sort of outline the flowers and then just color in the extra space. Just go around. And the blends really spreads the ink nice and smoothly, so you really don't need to work at it too hard. And just fill it in. Okay, and eventually the little marks will kind of fade away, and you'll just see a nice little background there. So now we're going to mount that together. Okay, remember the alcohol ink will bleed through the paper sometimes, so always have something underneath. Because it's thinner, it really soaks in. That's what makes it blend. Okay, we're going to mount that. Okay. And that's going to be put on top. That's going to be our cover. Now, obviously, we want the part underneath to move, right? So we're going to put dimensional dots only on the very ends where my fingertips are right now. Otherwise, this inside part will stick to them and we'll get caught up on them. So you want to be careful that we put them right on the very edges. So I'm going to line up those straight edges of the dimensional dot right with the edge of the paper. And on one of my earlier cards, I didn't think about it till afterwards. One had a black background. I said I should have used my black dimensional dots. Forgot all about those. But because this is white, the white ones are fine if it shows through a little bit on the edges. Okay, so this way, let me just show you this reverse. It's going to fit in between those dimensional dots, but just this way. All right, so you can go ahead and we're going to peel those off. And I'm going to lay it down over that part that's going to slide up. All right, and hopefully that's going to work just fine. There we go. All right, you can, if you do make a mistake, you can peel it off a little bit and start again, rub it off. I've done that too. All right, so now we're going to use the hello that I said we would use from Life is Beautiful. We use hello and thinking of you. And I ran that through my mini die cut machine. It's right here. And took a piece of scrap paper and ran it with my Stitch So Sweetly smallest rectangle and came up with my hello. So I'm going to put that on there with a black strip this time. Notice each time I'm doing this, I'm varying it a little bit. So I'm going to use the triple banner punch to cut a little banner tip on here. So this is just short of an inch. So I'm going to make sure I hold it steady in the groove. Press my banner tip. And that's going to go across the front of the card. About like that. So I'm just going to make a little mark here, and that will be where I will cut it. Here's my paper trimmer. All right. And I will put that on with dimensionals too. I don't know if a card gets made by me that does not have dimensionals someplace. I just love these little guys. And I kind of get in a little panic mode if I'm getting low on my supply. All right, so that will be there. I'll put that there. Okay, then glue that down. So because these aren't moving parts, your regular adhesive should be fine. I just think that green and the black is just very striking. And I like having some bright cards. They're very nice. All right, now instead of rhinestones or pearls or enamel dots, this time I'm going to use, in the new catalog, ladybug trinkets. Okay, they're really adorable. They do add some dimension to your card, so you do have to be careful. But look how sweet. They are like brass and very sweet. So I'm going to add a couple of those to the card. I'll put one down below. Always nice to have a little something on there. I'm just going to add 2. Normally I like doing the rhinestones or the pearls in 3s, but with these cute little guys, 2 I think is plenty. So we'll just stick a glue dot on the back of that. And gonna have that guy crawling up the little card there. And put another one someplace else. Let's see. Gotta hold this on my maybe there or there. I actually wanted it over here, but I think I turned the paper around. I wanted to be able to see it better, so I don't want them both on the same side. So okay, I'm gonna end up putting it here. But they are adorable. Look how cute that is. Of course, they're usually crawling all around the flowers, right? All right, so our card is done. Pull that up.